Hi, I'm Jim Trippon CPA with 5 income tax tips that can save you money filing your federal income tax return this year. It's income tax time again, and Uncle Sam wants to know how much money you earned and how much tax you need to pay. Now, we all want to pay less in income tax each year, but instead of looking for shady tax loopholes and gray area deductions, at Trippon and Company CPAs, we specialize on tax planning that will not only save you money on this year's taxes, but will also plan your activities to save even more in the years ahead. Here are some basic tips that we've used to save our clients millions of dollars over the last 25 years. First, travel expenses. Now, the key to deducting the most in travel expenses is keeping accurate records. For example, if you want to deduct auto expenses, you need to keep a log of auto usage. And travel expenses can include things like airfare, transportation, conference and trade show attendance fees, hotels, rent-a-car expenses, and parking fees. Consulting with an income tax preparation expert about your vehicle deductions is also always a wise choice. There are additional deductions that only a qualified tax accountant might know. For example, one travel expenses that many people don't know about is, if you work 2 different jobs, you can deduct the mileage costs from going between the first job and the second job. Now, if you only have one job, though, you're not allowed to deduct the commuting cost to go from your home to your only job. Another savings area is medical expenses. Be sure to keep all of your medical expense receipts and statements that are not reimbursed by medical insurance. You'll need to have a copy of all out-of-pocket medical expenses in order to qualify for this deduction. The amount of the deduction is highly dependent on your income, so you'll want to discuss this with your tax accountant. There are certain expenses for medical and dental insurance that are also deductible, and which your income tax specialist can determine for deduction on your return. Another area of opportunity is entertainment expenses. Now, typically entertainment expenses are an IRS red flag, and they need to be carefully reviewed with your CPA. Back in March 2002, new laws were passed that prohibited the deduction of entertainment expenses for personal use. However, usual and customary business-related meals and entertainment can still be deducted for up to 50% of the cost. You'll want to review all of your entertainment expenses with your Trippon and Company CPA to make sure that you minimize your tax liability. Tax records are also an important area to keep track of. Keeping accurate and complete income tax preparation records will make your life a lot easier. First of all, because they'll reduce the cost of preparing your tax return. But even more importantly, they'll protect you in the case of an IRS audit or an IRS tax dispute. Be aware that you're legally required to keep income tax records for at least 3 years after the filing deadline. And speaking of deadlines, the deadline for filing your income tax return is April 15th. You have to know how much you owe and have a payment made and postmarked by April 15th each year. Filing your income tax return prior to the deadline will help you avoid penalties and interest from the IRS. Now, you also may qualify for filing an extension, but remember that filing an extension is only an extension to file the return, not to pay. You still have to pay all taxes owed by April 15th to avoid penalties and interest. In order to prepare an extension and file your tax later and do it properly, you really need to consult with a tax specialist. And of course, tax preparation can make anybody anxious. At Trippon and Company CPAs, we've learned that the earlier you start working on your taxes, the better chance you have on saving the most on your tax return this year. So to begin your income tax process for this year, fill out our tax assessment questionnaire. There's a link for that right below this video, or call us at 713-661-1040 to schedule a free tax review.